Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Ramai Jaya Sajjana. Jaya Prahlad Singha Jaya Prahlad Singha Ananta Dev Jaya Ananta Dev. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari. नाम संकीर्तन की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। It is in mute so far. Can you make me host? I can't. Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Today we are going to discuss on the verse number 1.2.44. It's the last verse of third chapter of the first canto. Let's recite the shloka first. Tatra kirtayato vipra viprarshet bhuri tejasa aham chadhyagamam tatra nivishtatat anugrahat toham vah vishyami soham vah saravayishyami yathadhitam yadamati. Can anybody from Prabhu please? Tatra, there. Kirtayata, while reciting. Vipra, O Brahmanas. Viprarshi, from the great Brahmana rishis. Bhuri, greatly. Tejasa, powerful. Aham, I. Cha, also. Adhyagamam, could understand. Tatra, in that meaning. Nivistha, being perfectly attentive. Tat anugraha, by his mercy. Sah, that very thing. Aham, I. Vah, unto you. Sarava Ishyami, shall let you hear. Yata, yata dhitam, yata mati. As far as my realization. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda ki. O learned Brahmanas, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there, in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention. And thus, by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it. Purport. One can certainly see directly the presence of Lord Sri Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam if one has heard it from a self-realized great soul like Sukadeva Goswami. One cannot, however, learn Bhagavatam from a bogus hired reciter whose aim of life is to earn some money out of such recitation and employ the earnings in sex indulgence. No one can learn Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam who is associated with the persons engaged in the sex life. That is the secret of learning Bhagavatam. Nor can one learn Bhagavatam from one who interprets the text by his mundane scholarship. One has to learn Bhagavatam from the representative of Sukadeva Goswami and no one else. If one at all wants to see Lord Sri Krishna in the pages, that is the process and there is no alternative. Suta Goswami is a bona fide representative of Sukadeva Goswami because he wants to present the message which he received from the great learned Brahmana Sukadeva Goswami presented Brahmana. Sukadeva Goswami presented Bhagavatam as he heard it from his great father. And so also Suta Goswami is presenting Bhagavatam as he heard it from Sukadeva Goswami. Simple hearing is not all. One must realize the text with proper attention. The word Nivistha means that Suta Goswami drank the juice of Bhagavatam through his ears. That is the real process of receiving Bhagavatam. One should hear with rapt attention from the real person, and then he can at once realize the process of Lord Krishna in a presence of Lord Krishna in every page. The secret of knowing Bhagavatam is mentioned here. No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. But somehow or other, if someone hears the with rapt attention from the right person at the very beginning, one can assuredly see Lord Krishna in the presence, in Lord Krishna in person in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Thank you very much. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीकृष्ण श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ओम विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामे नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतार विष्णु पादाय Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining this session. Today we are going to learn the secret of learning Bhagavatam. So as we all know, in the chapter 1, uh, the sages of Naimisharanya assembled and started asking questions with Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami is basically a family of Suta. Suta means it's a labor class, right? So, but the sages assembled who are asking the questions are Brahmanas. When Brahmanas are sitting, Brahmanas are supposed to be in the preaching stage, whereas other categories of the people are supposed to be hearing from Brahmanas. The situation is reversed here. In Naimisharanya, a Suta is teaching and Brahmanas are hearing. So, what is the qualification of Suta Goswami, who is sitting in a Vyasasana and teaching sages who are scholars, learned Brahmans? It's completely, something which we cannot understand. So there is a secret. Even Brahmanas have authenticated the teaching qualities of Suta Goswami before even Suta Goswami starts speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In the first chapter, we can see. So even in the purport, it is clearly mentioned by Śrīla Prabhupāda the qualification for someone to speak Bhagavatam. And at the same time, there should be qualification for listeners for hearing the Bhagavatam. This is very, very important because when we see one of the questions that Saunaka Rishis asked from Suta Goswami is, where did Dharma take shelter? Right? One of the questions. Where did Dharma take shelter? At the end of Dwapara Yuga, when Sri Krishna is leaving this earth planet, when Krishna came for establishing Dharma, when Krishna is leaving and the Kali Yuga is going to start, and what will happen to Dharma? Where will Dharma take shelter? The answer for this question was, so when Krishna leaves this planet, then Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is appearing. That means Krishna is appearing in the form of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is not different from Lord Sri Krishna. The book incarnation of Lord Krishna is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If that is so, when we recite Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and if we don't realize Lord Sri Krishna, then the recitation has no meaning, right? So we are not understanding, we are not learning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That is not the real learning. That means you should be able to see Lord Sri Krishna in every page of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam when you read Bhagavatam. That is the essence of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading. If we cannot feel this, if we cannot realize this, that means we are doing mistake. The qualifications that one should have while reading Bhagavatam is that he should be pure. But we all are not pure. But still we are reciting Bhagavatam. No problem. As we recite Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we will become pure. As we become pure and pure, then the realizations will change. The Bhagavatam is not something that you read only once and say that I completed reading. As you become pure again, you read, then your realizations will change. And then you will feel like you are learning something. That means as you become more and more pure, the understanding of the Bhagavatam will completely change. So that is the importance. As Śrīla Prabhupāda mentioning in this verse purport, one should hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with rapt attention. That is important. Whether we are pure or not pure is a secondary thing. If you hear it with rapt attention, you become pure. See, the rapt attention is not possible if our actions are not pure. First of all, we should be acting purely. That's what. So basically, one should be following the regulative principles first before even you start hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If you don't follow the regulative principles and start thinking that I will read Bhagavatam and I will understand, it is impossible. Because our actions are not pure. If our actions are not pure, our mind will not be pure. If our mind is not pure, we don't get the rapt attention. If we don't get the rapt attention, we cannot understand. This is the secret of hearing Bhagavatam, the most important thing. So for that, we should be pure in eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. We should be pure in all these. So for that, we should be following the regulative principles. And about the speaker, this is about the people who are hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And if you consider about the speaker, a speaker is also supposed to be pure, and he is also supposed to be from the disciplic succession. There are a lot of people who are speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and nowadays there is a business, Bhagavata Saptaha, right? In 7 days, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will be spoken. This is a business nowadays. And these are all the professional speakers. And these professional speakers are not from any of the authentic disciplic succession. That is the most important thing that we need to understand, whether we can choose to hear such Bhagavatam or not. If these are not from an authentic disciplic succession, then we are not supposed to hear such Bhagavatam. Because the qualification for one to speak Bhagavatam is, he should be in the disciplic succession of Sukadeva Goswami. Otherwise, you can't hear. Because Sukadeva Goswami is speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with love and what he learned from his great father Vyasa. He is not doing any mental speculation. He is giving as it is what he heard from his father. And at the same time, Suta Goswami was present when Sukadeva Goswami was speaking to Parikshin Maharaj for 7 days and 7 nights, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Suta Goswami heard it with rapt attention. Right? So that is the qualification of Suta Goswami to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with Saunaka Rishis in Naimisharanya. So Naimisharanya Rishis, although they are exalted, although they are learned scholars, they accepted Suta Goswami to speak, because the only qualification that Suta Goswami has was he was having a rapt attention when he was hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. That was one qualification. And Suta Goswami is not a ordinary person. In fact, although he is from the family of Sutas, he was having the mercy of Lord Balaram also. Right? Not only the mercy of Sukadeva Goswami, he was having a mercy of Lord Balaram also. When Romaharshana Suta was not respecting Balaram while sitting on Vyasasana, Balaram killed Romaharshana Suta, because Romaharshana Suta, although he was a scholar, he was not qualified to sit in the Vyasasana. He was not qualified. So Balaram did not accept Romaharshana Suta to sit on Vyasasana, and he killed Romaharshana Suta, and he appointed Suta Goswami as a representative of the Guru Parampara. So that is the mercy that Suta Goswami has. In fact, when Saunaka Rishis were glorifying Suta Goswami before Suta Goswami starting the Bhagavatam, They said, you are a submissive disciple. So you have the qualification to teach us Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, whatever you hear it from Shukadeva Goswami. He's a submissive disciple. Right? So that is another qualification that one should have. And one more point that we need to understand for having a qualification to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is, there are so many scholars who have read Bhagavatam, all Vedas, in fact. Even if they heard all Vedas, or even if they speak all Vedas, but if you don't understand the essence of the Vedas and you start, speculating on the Vedas, you are not qualified. Because there are so many Brahmins who have done, recitation of all Vedas, but they were still doing Karma Kanda. That's why Saunaka Rishis have glorified Suta Goswami, saying that although you don't know some parts of Vedas, you are qualified. You are qualified to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It was a clear word that is mentioned by Saunaka Rishis, that you are not knowing entire Veda. If Suta Goswami is not knowing entire Veda, then how is he qualified? So that doubt also we can get. First thing is, he is not from a Brahmin family, and he is a Suta family, and he does not know all parts of Veda. He did not read all parts of Veda. He does not know all parts of Veda, but he is a scholar. The meaning for why Saunaka Rishis mentioned about Suta Goswami that he does not know some parts of Veda, that some parts are the Karma Kanda part. That is not the Bhakti part. One should have Bhakti to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. When a person sitting in Vyasasana speaks with Bhakti, then the listeners also get Bhakti. Right? If a person who is speaking, sitting in the Vyasasana, for the benefit of, sense gratification, then such a Bhagavatam is condemned. Such a Bhagavatam is condemned. That's why we should not hear Bhagavata Saptaha who is doing for the sake of money, because by doing Bhagavata Saptaha, whatever the money that he earns will use in the sense gratification. Right? He will be indulging in sex. So one should be hearing from the authentic disciplic succession, and even if he is a Gruhastha, it is fine as long as he is not a Gruhamedi. Right? A Gruhamedi uses the money that he earns for sense gratification, whereas a Grihastha uses his hard-earned money in the service of Krishna. That is the difference. So a Grihastha is also qualified to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and that Grihastha should be in the disciplic succession. So that is the qualification of the speaker. So Suta Goswami is a person like that. Suta Goswami is a person like that. Otherwise, Suta Goswami would have not been chosen to speak by all these great scholars, right? And the benefits of reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is we are getting purified. That is mentioned in the first chapter itself. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Right? As you read Bhagavatam every day, you get purified. All your contaminations will be clean out. So that is the purpose. So the presenter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be presenting in a way that he is presenting Krishna to all the listeners. As we know that the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a ripened fruit on the tree of Vedas. It's a kalpa vruksha, right? A ripened fruit. Generally, from the tree we can get anything. You may get leaves, you may get wood, you may get fruits, you may get seeds, or you may get anything. What is the best thing that we can get from any tree? Is the fruit. And if that fruit is a ripened fruit, then that is the best thing. In fact, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is such a ripened fruit, it's like a nectar. It's like a nectar. And if that nectar, if you want to get, how should you get? How should we get such a nectar? So we have to cut the fruit from the topmost branch of the tree, because the tastiest fruit will be on the topmost branch. Because the lower hanging fruits will already be eaten. So, so the topmost branch, there is a fruit which is a ripened fruit, and which we should drink. Basically, the fruit can be eaten but cannot be drink, right? Cannot be drunk. So, but whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is such a fruit which has no seed and which has no peel, right? It's completely juice. That's why it is mentioned Pibata Bhagavata Rasamalayam. So, if it is such a great juicy fruit, and how carefully you should cut from the tree, right? You cannot just like that throw a stone and cut the fruit, right? There are many ways to cut the fruit. The first way is you can throw a stone onto the tree and get the fruit. But Bhagavatam can be spoiled if you get it in that way. Because by the time it fall on the ground, it will spoil. You cannot take the fruit directly from the tree. So you cannot cut by throwing a stone. But there is another way of cutting the fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam from the Kalpa Vruksha. If you see in the mango farms, they cut the fruit by using the bamboo stick, and they use some net to the bamboo stick and they cut the fruit. That is one way of cutting the fruit. That is also direct cutting. But the problem is, if you cut a fruit which is not ripened, in that way it is okay. If it is completely ripened and a juicy fruit, if you cut in that way, what will happen? Again, the juice will go. You cannot eat. By the time it comes to you, you cannot eat. And there is another way. You find a person who can climb the tree and ask him to go to the topmost branch and cut the fruit. Then what should he? He should throw it onto the person who is sitting in the ground who wants to take the juice. Is that the right way? Because by the time it reaches him, again the juice will go because he is throwing. There are possibilities that he may catch and he may not catch. If he catch also, it will spoil because it's completely juice. Then if he does not catch again, it will fall on the ground, the juice will go. That is also not the right way of cutting the ripened fruit from the tree. So what is the right way of cutting the trees? You have to choose few people who know how to climb the tree and ask them to stand each one at one branch and ask the person who is standing on the topmost branch to cut and carefully hand it over to the person who is sitting in the next branch, and he should pass that to the next branch, and he should pass that to the next branch, and he should pass that to the ultimate beneficiary. This is the right way of taking the fruit without damaging. Right? This is the one way of and the authentic way. In any other way, the fruit will damage. The only way is a person who is cutting should carefully pass it on through the other people who are sitting in the other branches. This is called disciplic succession. You have to pass it. The knowledge of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be passed in this. So Vyasadeva has given Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami has given Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami is giving Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to all of us. Carefully, right? This is the way the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be taken. Otherwise, it will damage. So, the bona fide representative means a person who is in the disciplic succession of Sukadeva Goswami. Because Sukadeva Goswami has added its flavor. Sukadeva Goswami added flavor. See, when we are speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's not that we have to present Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as it is. Definitely, we have to present Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as it is. That does not mean that we just read whatever is there in the purport, whatever is there in the translation. Right? We have to add some examples which can help people to understand, and every speaker will have their own flavor. to make whatever is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to be understood. That flavor will help in giving the essence of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So without disturbing the essence of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we should get the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Right? We should get Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So for that, if you want to pass on the essence and you don't want to disturb the essence, and whatever the examples you are using, which you may not hear or you may hear it from your seniors, is fine. The ultimate purpose of using examples is to make people understand. If that is happening, as long as that is happening, without any mental speculations, it is okay. It is acceptable. Sukadeva Goswami. And one more point that we need to understand is, if Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami, it is more tasty. The fruit which is cut from the tree is by Sukadeva Goswami, let us say, it is more tasty than anybody else cutting. Because when Sukadeva Goswami was speaking, there was lot of scholars and lot of great devotees assembled, including Vyasadeva, including Narada Muni, including incarnations of Lord Sri Krishna, who are Parashuram. Lord Parashuram also was there. But why everybody choose Shukadeva Goswami to be the representative to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Although the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is sitting, Shukadeva Goswami was chosen. Because another qualification that one should have to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is he should be a pure devotee. And he should be having pure love for Lord Krishna. Right? Shukadeva Goswami is having such a great love. That is the reason Sukadeva Goswami was chosen to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If at all, if it is spoken by Vyasadeva instead of Sukadeva Goswami, may not be all the audience relished the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam like how they relished when Sukadeva Goswami is speaking. Because Sukadeva Goswami is adding the love that he has to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam which he learned from Vyasadeva. That's why Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam has become more tasty for the listeners. One example that I would like to quote here, when Lord Sri Krishna was in Vrindavan in his childhood, he was doing so many notorious activities, right? He goes to gopis' houses and he breaks the pots of butter, and he ties the hair of one Mataji to another Mataji, gopis to another gopis, and he goes to the houses of all the gopis and he spoil everything which is clean, and like that he was doing. Gopis were enjoying, in fact. Gopis have a lot of love for Lord Krishna. Right? So in fact, all gopis were, doing their actions, keeping Krishna as center. Right? If they make butter, they make butter for Krishna. It's not. But although they keep, on the height, so they think that if Krishna comes, can he catch this or not? Right? So such a consciousness they have. Whatever the sweets that they make, whatever the milk products that they make, they think Krishna likes or not. Can Krishna? First they will feed to Krishna, then they will feed to their kids. Okay, such a great love that they have. But although they have so much great love, they don't exhibit all the time. They don't exhibit their love for Krishna all the time. So when Krishna comes to their houses and they keep, teasing, Krishna keep teasing the gopis, and gopis are frustrated and they go to Yashoda Mata and they tell Yashoda Mata that Krishna is doing like this, Krishna is doing like that, Krishna also, very naughty, Krishna, spoiled my milk, spoiled my butter, all these things they keep telling. But while they are telling, Yashoda Mata see the love in gopis and she enjoys more than what gopis enjoy. She enjoys much more than what gopis enjoy, because gopis was the direct enjoyer, okay, from Krishna acts, from the pastimes of Krishna. Gopis were directly involved, but whereas Yashoda Mata was not directly involved, she was hearing from gopis. So the gopis adding the love that they have for Krishna in explaining what Krishna has done. So the Yashoda Mata is enjoying much more than what gopis enjoyed. That means you should be at the dead end of the disciplic succession, should enjoy much more than if you directly hear from the Vyasadeva, right? That is the reason Sukadeva Goswami was chosen, because Sukadeva Goswami adds the love of Vyasa and adds the love, the self that he has, whatever the love that he has, everything together, much more relishable, right? So that was the reason we should be in that. That's why we should be, you know, directly trying to serve Lord Krishna. Rather, we should be serving Lord Krishna through the disciples, through the disciplic succession. When you do that, your worship or your devotion is accepted by Krishna directly. So if you are far away from, in the disciplic section, like, you are a disciple of a disciple of a disciple of a disciple of a disciple somebody, then you are close to Krishna. If you are a direct disciple, then you are not that close to Krishna as you are, far from him. So that is most important. That's why we should be dasa dasanu dasanu dasa. So we should not be trying to be dasa for Krishna directly. Rather, we should be trying to be dasa for dasa of Krishna. Right? That is the secret of bhakti. So because we are all, in Kali Yuga, and we are all engaged materially so much that there is possibilities of doing offenses. Every minute we do offense. So with such an offensive nature, if we go and worship Krishna directly, then it is a worship to, it's an offense towards Lord Krishna directly. Whereas if you do the same offense against a devotee will forgive, right? A pure devotee will forgive the offenses of others. But whereas Krishna has no other option. Right? He says, you go and serve a devotee, and if the devotee, forgives your offense, then I forgive. Krishna will not forgive offenses. Any offenses that we directly, offend Krishna, such offenses will not be forgiven by Krishna. So that is the another important thing, that we have to serve Krishna through the disciples. That's why even the, Darshanarati, Mangalarati, we offer Guru Arati, right? So Samsara Davanala. So why we do the Guru Arati, Guru Ashtakam, is because we worship Krishna through Guru. That is the important. Otherwise, the people might think, those who are not understanding the philosophy, they might think like you are showing the, Arati to Krishna and singing for Guru. So what is this? So that is the secret, right? We are worshipping Krishna through Guru. So that's the important. So the rapt attention word that is used here is very, very important, because Suta Goswami heard it from Sukadeva Goswami with rapt attention. That means he just did not hear it, he drank it. That was mentioned. He drank Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam through the ear holes. Through the ear holes. We can drink only from mouth. But a person who is hearing with rapt attention can drink Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the ear holes. So Suta Goswami did that. That is the reason Suta Goswami is very much qualified. If you see some of the verses that that were mentioned by so you can see from the 6th verse of 1st chapter, the sages were mentioning the qualification of Suta Goswami. All right. So here it is mentioned, you are completely free from vice. One should be not, contaminated with the anarthas, right? One should not be contaminated with anarthas to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That is the meaning of it. But Suta Goswami is completely pure. He has no anarthas. That's why, so sages are saying that you are the person who can speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. You are well versed in all the scriptures, famous for the religious life. That means he is following the regulative principles. He is following the regulative principles. That's why he is pure. And he also uh, is perfect in all Puranas, histories as well. For you have gone through them under the proper guidance. Okay, who have and have them also explained them. It's not the first time that Sutta Goswami is explaining. He has already having a lot of experience, and the most important qualification that he has is he learned this under the guidance. Under the guidance, he has not learned just by reading it. Okay, that means he heard it from his gurus and he learned. And another one good qualification that here the Sutta Goswami has, which is glorified by Saunik Rishis, was that, O Sutta Goswami, you are acquainted with the knowledge of Vyasadeva, who is incarnation of God. And you also know other sages who are fully versed in all kinds of physical and metaphysical knowledge. And because you are submissive, your spiritual master have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. Okay. So that's why Sutta Goswami also in this verse he is mentioning, uh, if you see, I shall try to make you hear the very same thing. It's not that I am going to speculate something or I'm going to manipulate something. Whatever I hear, I'm going to tell you. The same thing I'm going to tell you, whatever I heard from my spiritual master or Sukadeva Goswami when he was present. Okay. And as I have realized it, yatha dhitam yatha mati. Yatadhitam yatamati. Whatever I learn, whatever I realized, that I'm going to tell you. That means he is not doing any mental speculation. He is disclaiming that whatever I'm going to speak is not from my mind. Whatever I'm going to speak is what I learned from my seniors. Okay. So when you hear like this, when such a qualified speaker is there, and when you hear like this, then we can see Krishna in every page of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the secret of learning Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the only way, authentic way to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Once we do that, we can see Krishna from every page of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Krishna is everywhere. We know Srimad Bhagavatam is the different limbs of the Lord Sri Krishna, from the foot till the head, forehead, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, every canto is part of him. And you read all the Bhagavatam and you don't understand Krishna, means we did not read Bhagavatam. That is of no meaning. Okay. So I end the session here. Thank you very much. So I hope you all understand. I request for any questions that you have to be answered. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hmm. No, no. It is different situation actually. It was in the past. Before the sages assembled in the Naimisharanya, there was a different assembly where Romaharshan Sutta was speaking and other sages were hearing. Okay, in that Balaram punished Sutta Goswami's father and he appointed Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami was a son of Romaharshana Sutta. In fact, yeah. So it is not the same situation. Uh, yeah. See, you just follow the regulative principles. No meat eating, right? And no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. If you can follow this, then you are following all the religious principles. You are qualified. Okay, sleeping, eating, mating, and defending. In terms of defending, let's say you asked me something, and I don't know the answer. So I should not speak something. Just because I don't know the answer, I should not speak something, for that moment or that sense. So rather, I should say that, I'm not aware of the answer. I'll check with my seniors and I'll get back to you. Rather, I should not defend in, saying that, I'm right, or I know this answer, or, I should not be thinking that I know the answers for everything. So you should be not speculating. Rather, you should be speaking whatever you hear it from your seniors. That is the meaning. Okay. And yeah. Uh, and second thing is you'll also be uh, people will be uh, living dharmic life. Okay. You can be earning money for the sake of taking care of the family, but in the religious way. You cannot be cheating people and earning, or for the sake of earning money, you should not be exploiting anything. That is the reason we offer to Krishna and then have it. Okay. So, so basically, yeah, you should be, following these religious principles. Only then you will be qualified. Okay. To hear also. To hear also. Yeah. That's, that's-
You mentioned that Krishna doesn't come from the devotees for the period. Krishna is devotees. Yes,
Yeah. See, Krishna. If you do an offense to a devotee, Krishna will not forgive, and you have to get a forgiveness from the devotee only. Even if you do offenses for Krishna, we don't have so much purity that we ask Krishna and get the forgiveness from Krishna, right? But whereas Krishna devotees are easily accessible. Even if we are not pure, we can beg for forgiveness from the devotees. But if you are having an offensive nature and go and offend Krishna, then we don't have a qualification to ask forgiveness from Krishna also. Right? We are not that pure that Krishna will hear from us, and then Krishna will forgive. So he will, yeah. The mercy that Krishna shows is that we will be connected with some devotee. Krishna will help us in connecting with some devotee, so that through the devotee we will understand the etiquettes, and then we will worship Krishna. Right, Prabhu? Yeah. So even Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj, and then then Durvasa Muni went and asked for forgiveness from Vishnu. Also, Vishnu did not forgive. Then he came back and asked for forgiveness from Ambarish only, Ambarish Maharaj only. So don't expect, forgiveness from Krishna. It is not possible. Okay, we should be so pure for that. Yes.
I should try to make it get the same from and as
Yeah.
there is an and connection.
Oh.
One is I just wanted to add on the way you can also there are two things. One creating that and we have two people.
Correct.
We are having How do we integrate second part of the relationship? Because our capacity to realize is very short.
Correct.
We might end up realizing something that's not in our initial state. So it might happen that I think I am not will have attention. But then when I join that attention with my thought of realization, I may end up giving something else apart from me being attention forward. How should I guard myself? What is
Okay.
the comparative ability
Yeah.
to on the realization side? Really, it's like they can be a gratitude. Some people have that capability, but realization is not that easy.
See, realization comes only when whatever you hear is actually going in and changing our heart, right? See, realization word is used to speculate philosophically, not the mental speculation. Philosophical speculation is okay to some extent, but mental speculation is not acceptable. Okay. Some philosophy has to be explained. You can use your own theories, your own ways, but the essence is not missing, but you can explain people. That means with your knowledge, with your capabilities that you have, and whatever is given to you as by Krishna and by Guru, and you can add your own flavor. You can add your own speculations in terms of making people to understand in the philosophy is acceptable. That is called realization. Okay. But mental speculation is something that you completely understand it wrong, and you add your own thoughts, your own way, your own, philosophy. Then you explain them. That is so. The here Sutta Goswami heard it from Sukadeva Goswami. Same thing he is explained. That means the essence of what he heard from Sukadeva Goswami is explained with his own flavor. That is his realization. Maybe you can add, Prabhuji. So, so that's why we should not add our own realizations also. Rather, we should simply speak whatever our acharyas have spoken. Yes. Right, Prabhu? Yeah, please. Go ahead. Yeah. Thank you very much.
And our approach to be taken. And we can you are having a don't worry, you have to be taken on the top person. Don't get worried that you are not release the audio. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita is answer, and it comes down to the possibility. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. One more thing about this advantage. This is the time of the podcast about getting there. How we anything that was written by these are the both first three to the factor. And then but as the Muslim gets there are it's already so the major thing the sort of thing that which will get more and more creative. So I think
That is the reason we write Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta. All these are required to get the qualification. To realize at least. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.